Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Deidre with Are You a CPS Victim Like Me? I have my two co-hosts, Tiffany and Darren, and I have a couple joining us again from last night, Bob Pace's show. And I kind of wanted to have them come on and share their story again for anybody that kind of didn't see it or just maybe like a recap. And then they'll also um, talk more or less about maybe some key points. Sorry about that. Key points that Darren and Tiffany, I feel like, have a lot of knowledge about that could also help them. So again, this is Deidre, and I do my shows every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific time under an attorney that's CPS trial defense attorney that practices out in Southern California. And I myself was a parent that went through a CPS case myself, and I'm still fighting to get my three boys home, and hopefully that will end in a happy ending sometime soon with my two older boys. But Darren and Tiffany have also gone through a case themselves and are also now advocates for parents that are going through a case or still fighting for their children, because again, anybody that comes across this, what I like to call corruption of a business making money off of kidnapping kids and adopting them out, hopefully we can maybe bring an end to this and bring more awareness to parents that are starting a case out, so hopefully theirs doesn't end in adoption or not having their kids returned back home. So again, we have our guests from last night. I believe it's Audrey and Marcus, if I'm correct. He can correct me when he gets in the house. And like they said on the show last night, they both are parents to two boys separately. The mother has two boys, the father has two boys. And they both kind of went through an ugly divorce, if I'm remembering correctly. And ironically, they now have found each other through always, I guess, knowing each other before their divorces. But then when they both got divorced, they kind of linked up together and then, found love, I guess you might as well say. But the sad part is now the mother and father of the two sets of boys have also, I think, kind of colluded and have made false allegations against our guests and, eventually led to their boys being removed. And so, again, they can tell their story much more in detail. But again, a lot of key points I think I got from their story was one of their children or boys has, autism, I believe. And of course, makes it very hard for him to be able to relay any, things that go on with the other parent, and have already doubled, I think, his medication that he was on before this case had started, which we all know is another trait that they like to do. And then not only that, but I believe one of their other sons had a very difficult childhood when it comes to medical issues. I mean, I think he said that he already has had a brain surgery and was just very medically fragile, which now I think believe has led to the child being even on life support. So it's pretty extreme. And I think they do have visitation, but the others tricky but kind of thing that goes on all the time, which I don't understand, is they have visitation, but the parents that have the kids are prohibiting that visitation from happening, even all the way down to the hospital. They try and go to the hospital to see that child, and the hospital blocks them and says, we need a letter stating that you can see this child. And, yes, Tiffany, jump in.
If they can hear me, I want to know if they still have their parental rights.
So from what we understand, we still have our parental rights. We've been back to the courthouse this whole week, actually, back and forth, trying to figure out what we could do. So we've been told that we have not lost our parental rights, and what? Should have been notified. Yeah, we should have been notified. We finally got the restraining orders that were supposedly granted. It's just been a huge headache.
Your background noise isn't that bad, so if you guys maybe want to start, or do you want to wait to get inside?
Now.
Okay, so I mean, if you guys kind of want to get yourself situated and then go ahead and maybe give a recap of your scenario so that Darren and Tiffany can kind of know more of the details.
Okay.
Well,
sounds good. Give us 1 minute.
No, that's okay. Fine. While they're getting together, until they can come back on. So the restraining orders, I want to make sure they're not that they're restraining orders versus a child protective order, right? Because I'm actually dealing with two here in Virginia. I believe one will be removed. But even with a protective order and a restraining order, there still has to be somewhere in that order that they have visitation. And if they're not getting visitation, that can be an automatic transfer of custody. Especially
I had told them that I thought that they could go right into court and say, look, this is court order visitation and the other parent is not abiding to it. I thought it was like contempt of court or something, but I didn't know. I told them I didn't know. But
well, you have to file a motion to show cause, right? They literally have to file a motion to show cause, and then the other side has to say why they won't let the child. Let me tell you, I had a judge tell me, no, this is no lie. He said, ma'am, if you do not have that child at scheduled visitations, I will put your ass in jail. That's exactly what he told me.
But I think also what they told me is that they're like literally going to court for, CPS and trying to do anything about their case. And it's almost like as if, like I said, they have their rights still, I think, but then they almost make it seem like your case is closed and we can't help you with anything.
Okay. So we need to find out a couple things. If their case is truly closed and CPS is showing up at their hearings, they can ask for CPS to be removed from the courtroom. The case is closed. I had an issue with that here, and I told the girl I was working with, I said, if they show up, you tell the judge your case is closed, you don't know why they're here, and you want them removed. And he removed CPS.
Even in the CPS courtroom?
She was in there for a custody hearing because her case was closed, but CPS kept showing up, right? So she called me. I've known this girl since she was 2 years old. And she's like, Tiffany, what do I do? I said, you tell that judge your case is closed. You want them out of here because in juvenile and domestic court, you can ask for the courtroom to be closed. And she did. And the judge said, the case is open or closed. They said closed. He said, get out of my courtroom.
Whenever Audrey and Marcus, you guys ready? Go ahead.
We're ready.
Okay, so like if you want to just kind of give Darren and Tiffany and
beginning, or do you want to start what we're going through right now?
No, go ahead and start from the beginning because I might have left out a lot, and I would rather them know everything that you said last night. I mean, of course, condense it as much as possible, but I'm sure there's a lot of new viewers as well. So yeah. From the beginning, I guess.
From the beginning, we've had my ex and her ex collude with each other. My ex-wife called her ex-husband and said, told him that.
Wait, I think there's a lot of feedback.
Darren,
I can't hear you guys.
Put your mic on mute.
Oh, is that Darren? Sorry, guys.
Okay, and I need you guys to speak up a little bit, please.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, our ex-spouses decided to collude with each other, threw enough dirt on us for DCFS to investigate us over 5 times. On the 5th time, basically it stuck because we were involved in an automobile accident, which wasn't my fault. We had a sheriff's report and medical reports. The DCFS took the kids before they even interviewed myself and Audrey here, and because it took them from the school. They took her 2 from the school, and then they took my 2. They were actually at mom's house, their mom's house for the week, and then they just sent me a letter, a picture of a document saying they removed my children. Moving forward, they gave us a bunch of recommendations and classes to do, so we jumped in. We started doing them. They didn't give her any, but she still continued to do classes. They said we showed no initiative for change, and they closed our case allegedly within 3 months. But they gave sole legal, sole physical to our ex-spouses, and 2 of our children are in Texas. 1 is on life support right at this moment, and my other 2 are with their mom and in a different county and enrolled in the original school and re-enrolled to another school. We've tried to put ex parte orders for to get Audrey to Texas to see one of our sons, and we've been jumping through the hoops, going through the circus, and family court at the Superior Court basically says we can't do nothing for you, and then we're like, what the heck? So then we go to children's court, and they're like, nope, your case is closed. There's absolutely nothing we can do for you. So then we go back today, and
to both courthouses
to the Superior Court to ex parte again. They don't see a restraining order or any documents stating otherwise. They said go check with children's court again. So we did, and then finally we got one of the ladies up in the office to actually give us more information. And we were told we couldn't ex parte the judge or have a hearing. And then all of a sudden now we can, and we had to file paperwork today to get an emergency hearing, but they said it could take 30 days. And it's like, hold on, we're talking about a child that needs his mom right now, because the biological father hasn't been involved in these kids' lives for over 5 years. All of a sudden gets custody, and he's at them for less than 6 months. And in the month and a half this past month and a half, he's lost over 20 pounds in weight. And
it's been exactly 48 days.
And then we just found out that he had a melatonin overdose. And there's nothing. We're not getting any information. We don't know what's going on with our 6-year-old. And the hospital won't give Audrey anything, but they just approved me on the medical app because I'm their legal guardian. And I don't even know how to explain this in the details that I need to explain this. It's absurd. It's unnerving.
I feel like if they have visitation, they should be able to go to the hospital and visit with that child, but the hospital's not letting them go forward.
So when it comes to my visitation with my boys, I only get a 30-minute phone call once a month. That's it. I don't get in person or anything. So that kind of makes it difficult in that aspect. But there's also a restraining order that my ex-husband has against me that children's court approved.
And without a hearing, they basically didn't share that they didn't notify us of a hearing, and they had a hearing behind closed doors and approved a restraining order on her and I.
And then
okay.
Go ahead, Tiffany.
What?
So you got a couple of things going on here. What state do you live in?
California.
Okay, so you're in California. Are all 4 of the kids in Texas or just 2?
They split them up.
Well, of course they did. So you got a couple things going on. First of all, I don't like ex partes because they're a violation of the 14th Amendment, which is a due process clause. I would call the courthouse every day on my emergency petition. You also have, if you can prove that your 2 exes conspired against you, you have a deprivation of rights with I wrote it down. I can't remember which one it is, but they're only one apart. 42 USC 242 and 241. Conspiracy against your rights. That's what it is.
So we have called the Texas, and we've gotten all the way up to state officials, state representatives for human health and rights resources, and we have one in California that's investigating our thing. Our basically we send them all our documents. In Texas, they don't really care. They're like,
who keeps jurisdiction in that matter, Tiffany?
Well, right now, California technically has jurisdiction.
California keeps jurisdiction until they move. Once they move, those orders, unless they're registered in a different state, are void. And I know this because I took me and my husband with the court, and the mom had moved out of West Virginia. Dad moved out of West Virginia. She never registered her custody papers within the 30-day period. The judge holds it up and goes, this right here, this is nothing. It's void. You both moved. So wherever the child lives is the mother's state, is exactly what he said.
Now, your visitation, was that given to you from CPS court or from family court? Uh-oh. Hopefully they'll join back in. Do you guys hear all that background noise?
Yeah.
Like someone's wrinkling a piece of paper like in the background?
Yeah.
I think it might be their sound. Well, hopefully they'll come back in. Isn't that crazy though, their story in a way?
Oh, you should you should hear the
I
ones
was on
that
the one last night. I watched yours last night with the two girls. I can't believe the one with all those documents that literally shows the facts, like right on paper. And yet, yeah.
Recently, they had a melatonin overdose.
Yes, their son, the 6-year-old.
Is that why he's in the hospital?
And he lost 48 pounds within, or no, he lost,
over 20 pounds.
Oh, we can hear you so much better.
In less than a month and a half. And then it's our 10-year-old, and he's on a severe spectrum. He's autistic. He's not able to express himself like others, but we've actually taken the time to where sometimes it may take 20 minutes, sometimes it may take 5 hours to get the answer, but you articulate it in the right way, he will give you an exact answer. And he's got a very special ability. The kid's smart. I mean, he saw my truck that got keyed before I did. And he pointed it out to me, and I was like, wow. And, or like we were in Bass Pro Shop in a sense. And I set my phone down on the counter, and I walked away with the kids. And then next thing you know, he's like, hey, your phone's over there. And I'm like, where? And it was in one of the
display cases.
And it was in a worker's hand, and he pointed it out.
Wow.
See, but a lot of people think of autism as like a disability, meaning like something that is altering them in some kind of way. But honestly, I look at autistic kids in the fact that, like you're explaining, they're just so much more gifted in just things that aren't like the norm in a way, like usually a lot of like artistic type of things. But never do I look at autistic kids as like being less of anything. If anything, I feel like they have an advantage in a lot of different things that normal functioning people just don't have. Like you said, they're very like meticulous in noticing things, or paying attention to a lot of things that other people are just too out on the open and not. But again, the sad part is that he can't relay things to you guys.
Well,
he can. It's just he can't relay it to other people because they don't know how to talk to him.
Well, yeah, they're not. I see.
And they don't care. They don't care to take the time to do it. Like, each kid has their individual parenting. I mean, you can't teach one kid as the other kid is. They all individual. You have to coach them to their needs.
Well, and then when they get put in this traumatic situation of being taken from their homes and everything that they know and being placed into a foreign place with, even if it is the other parent, still, you said the father hadn't been around for the last 5 years or something?
Yeah, so like, the autistic, the 10-year-old, he even said on a phone call with Mom, why did these people take me from you and put me with this man?
Oh, he doesn't even consider him his father.
And when he talks like that, that's the normal Joseph non-autistic side of him. Oh shoot. Sorry, yeah. That's the non-autistic side of him. And because we get brief moments where it's the autism is gone, and he's actually he's calm, cool, collective, and he's wanting to know and get answers and questions where he's thinking straight to the point, not backwards to the point. And it's like, man, he is in distress.
Did they ever say they were going to liberalize your visitation, or was that just like set in stone? Like you're only going to be able to talk to your kids over Zoom for the rest of their life?
So I don't even get videos with them. It's literally just a 30-minute phone call, and they're 10 and 6. And
so if they want to call you, they can't even call you?
Nope.
Oh my God.
Not to mention their biological father wouldn't let him in the first place. Like he's so out of touch with his mental that he's cut himself off from his own family. Like we're more in touch with his mom and his sister and he blocked everybody. He's completely alienated and isolated himself from everyone.
And one of Audrey's children is the one that's on life support, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
So then the other son that you have is just alone with this man, father?
We have no knowledge of where my 6-year-old is, what his condition is, if he's even at the hospital or anything. We have no clue.
Nobody will give us any information. We've called all the police departments and military police because he got dishonorable discharge that we could. They won't give us anything. The PDs, they say, oh, we talked to him. He says everyone's good. I'm like, everyone's good? No. Well, our 10-year-old's on life support. And did you put eyes on the 6-year-old? No, we talked to him. Everything's good. And they basically said, stop calling us.
Yep.
What was the original allegation? That's what I want to know.
The original allegation is I am abusive. I have substance abuse. I am a felon. I'm a felon in possession of firearms. I'm in multiple gangs, which is conflict of interest. But I am in 2 different unions, so that I don't know how else to explain that one. She's neglectful, homeless, doesn't take the kids to the doctor's appointments, and then I abuse her as well.
Yeah.
And the 10-year-old that's in the hospital is in there because of melatonin?
No. So severe dehydration.
Yep.
Basically not taking his biological father has not administered his daily meds. He didn't check in on him till 8 p.m. And actually it was because CID, which is a criminal investigation department for the military at Fort Cavajos, was investigating a crime that happened 3 weeks prior. And they found him unresponsive and basically put him in an ambulance and took him to, I think, a base hospital, which then they, from the base hospital, they got him stable and then transferred him to McLean's Children's. Now, they also, Dad states that he has they found a empty bottle of melatonin next to him. Why did he have access to that? Beyond me. Dad also says that he was drinking his own urine and eating out of the trash and eating his feces. Now, that sounds like fight or flight. He's starving. Because 20 pounds on all of us, we'd be looking at ourselves in the mirror going, dang, we look good. On 20 pounds on a 10-year-old, that's a lot. That's an absurd amount of weight.
That's 20 pounds in 48 days.
That's crazy.
Is this where the other kids are too? The other son is there too. The 6-year they're not. Nobody else is at this house, right?
They're not. Yeah. Well, they got kicked off the military base because he got dishonorable discharged, and nobody knows. So we don't have an address because originally he kept it confidential. So
why are these children still under his care?
Exactly.
And they've only been in I don't mean to use this word possession, but they've only been in his care or possession for less than 6 months.
And all of this has happened.
And all of this has happened. And honestly, before all this, with the way they sustained our allegations was we were involved in a car accident on the 10th. I dropped her off at the airport. I took the kids to La Brea to go look at a truck because she got in that car, totaled her car a few weeks beforehand.
Not my fault.
No, and I ended up getting an accident. So all of us had seatbelt rash. We had a sheriff come out and do an investigative report. 100% not my fault. Other parties, and we even went. She went to Texas to because her ex basically filed a restraining order on her and I against the kids and was trying to take her rights away and give it to his new wife. Well, the judge basically dismissed it and said, we don't have jurisdiction. The kids live in California. That's where the proof would be and the evidence would lie. So go fight it. Well, him and his new wife got a contempt of court. Were put in handcuffs. And then I don't know if they're arrested or what, but they basically between the 12th and the 14th, they called DCFS again under the same allegations. And on the 16th, we took the kids to school for their first day of school. Both of us went together to each kid school. There's 4 different schools, and let them know, hey, we were involved in an auto accident. Also, there's 4 boys in our house. I coach youth wrestling. 3 of them wrestle. And I said, that's a combative sport. And plus through my training and my schooling for wrestling, we have to let the schools know, don't be alarmed if they come home with a fat lip or a busted eye because of competition. It's a combative sport. And we even put a document in all their files saying if any outside agency is to come talk to our kids, we want to be present or their legal representation. Well, that basically
all it said?
No, nope. Mm-mm.
That backfired on us.
They used that against us in court.
Well, let me tell you something. I have one, and I hand delivered it to the school. And I told them, wait a minute.
Sorry.
I said, you contract with CPS. I am an advocate against CPS. If anybody talks to my grandson without me being present, I don't care who it is, from the principal to the janitor, outside of education, in big bold letters, it says, I will sue you under 42 USC 1983 because you have broken this contract between me and you.
What's the contract code again?
42 USC 1983.
Okay. We didn't have that code, but basically we put that on notice, and yeah, they didn't care. They took the 2 children from school when she went to pick up the youngest. They had him held in the office, and then a police officer showed up and threatened her with arrest.
Okay, so let me ask you something. Did they have a removal order, or did they just take them from school?
I don't know. I wasn't there. You never got a document? Did you?
I want to.
Yeah. I think it was a
removal.
And then my 2 kids, they didn't. They sent me a picture of a removal order, not even a formal document.
But what I'm saying is, well, I know they eventually got one. Did they have one the day they took the kids out of school?
Yes, once DCFS showed up at the school, she had a document in her hand.
What did it say?
She never gave it to us.
They didn't have one.
Office. But I did pick it up eventually. But it was saying that the children were being removed out of my care because of allegations that were made.
And we never had our home investigated or anything. We didn't, the caseworker that showed up didn't want to do a home interview or anything because we have a surveillance system.
Yep.
But we didn't answer our door anyways, but they didn't want to be recorded. And I was like, we were outside. I was outside working on my vehicle when she showed up. And then she asked for Audrey, and I was like, hold on 1 second, let me go get her. So Audrey came out the front door. I was in the garage working because I do mechanic work. And she said, you're not going to let me in the house. And mind you, she was 45 minutes to this alleged appointment that she set.
And she had no identification on her, no badge, no nothing.
Didn't even give us her name or what, her affiliation. And she just says, you're not going to let me in the house? And we're like, what? Like, now that put us on guard because I protect my children.
Yep.
And then she goes, I'm going to see inside that house. And we're like, I was like, can I get a supervisor? Because isn't there like a formal introduction? Because I don't even know hold on. I called her a hun, which I didn't mean that with disrespect. I was like, hun, we don't even know who you are. And she's all, first off, I would show you the same respect and call you by your name as I would expect the same respect. I said, that okay, but I don't even know who you are. And she goes, well, you got my card, didn't you? And I said, I have a picture on my phone with a name on it that has a business card. And she goes, I was like, but that doesn't tell me who you are. There's no photo ID. I can't just go off of her freaking card. And she's like, well, we're going to sign you up for a drug test. And I said, what's with all the extremes? I said, you're jumping from one extreme to the other. First, you're trying to barge into my house. Now you want us to do drug tests, which I was like, are you asking or is it an order? And then she goes, so you're not going to do a drug test? I said, never. I never said I wouldn't do a drug test. I said, are you asking or is it a court order? And she goes, well, now you need to take the kids to the forensic doctor. I said, hold on. We've already jumped through these hoops 4 other times. I said, what are the allegations? And she's like, so you're not going to go to the doctor's office? I said, hold on. I said, can we get a supervisor? She's like, you're not going to get one.
I think we asked for a supervisor between 3 and 5 times.
And so mind you, this is all in camera. We have it all recorded.
Well, first of all, I applaud you for calling her hum because the words that came out of my mouth would not have been that. You can believe that.
Believe me, I bit my tongue, but like it was, I don't know. Like I've been leaning on a car, trying to wrench on a car, and she's saying I'm aggressive, and she got in a boxing stance.
Yeah.
Oh, she did.
She got in a boxing stance.
You want to square it up?
Okay. You have that on video? You have it on video?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep.
So you need to come on Tiff and the Punisher with that video because seriously.
He asked Audrey to go to her car, and Audrey was like, I would like to stay on my property. And she goes, well, I don't want to be recorded. It's a 2 consent state. And I was like, hold on. If you're in your official capacity and you're a public servant, then it's not a 2 consent state, for one. For two, when you pass the threshold of my property line, you automatically consented. And I said, plus, if you want to say 2 consent state, I consent, she consent. There you go. And then
she didn't like that.
She literally stormed off and she slammed a packet of paper on the car that I was working on. I'm like, I said, wow, lady, you're pretty rude. And
oh my God.
And yeah, I mean, that might not have been verbatim for the most part, but it's pretty accurate, pretty close.
Well, I will tell you this. I wish somebody would square up with me on my front yard because all everybody's going to see is ass and elbows. I'm telling you now.
So
I like it.
I try not to be like physical just because I do have a history of competition. I wrestled for over 13 years and coached, and I've had it used against me before. So I try not to get combative if I don't have to, but I try to kill people with
But you were on your property, minding your business. They brought that to your front door. I love when they bring it to my front door, but they don't like it when they get to my front door. You can believe that.
Don't forget to tell them that you were a part of the system as a child too.
Well, you were talking.
I was a part of the system multiple times. So the crazy thing is like when I was very young, I was taken from my home, and then I was replaced back, and then when I was 12, I was taken. I lived in Utah at the time, and I was taken, and I ran away and waited till my grandparents came and picked me up. And then, but I don't. The thing is, they don't have that one registered. But I know I slept in a park for 3 days.
Because see, they took their kids on like what, the 5th allegation. They came out 4 times on false allegations that they found unfounded. But he feels like in the meantime, they were using that time to see that obviously now he was a child himself in the system, and then they like to run with that and keep it.
Yeah,
a paper trail.
I already had my guard up. I've already had my guard up because of previous, from when I was a child, and then, I mean, the 3rd or 4th one, I was surrounded by cops at gunpoint.
Yep.
Going, what the hell? I was getting ready for work, and next thing you know, there's like 5 police cars. 2 per car, and everybody has their guns drawn on me. And I'm like, whoa, what the hell? And they're like, we got a call for a gunshot wound and a laceration. I was like, what the fuck? Oops, sorry. My apologies. Sorry. And she comes out. I was like, gunshot wound, laceration. I was like, "Where's the boys?" Because like I like just got home and I was loading for the next day, and we have Nerf guns. Okay, we have we have Nerf guns. So we have wars. We play tactics for fun. You know.
Since that one though, we have gotten rid of our Nerf guns because we're trying to avoid.
Yeah. But it was a bruise that you could barely see the size of a Nerf gun dart, and the laceration was a cracked knuckle from dried skin.
Since
who called that in?
I don't know.
Well, hold on. I'm getting ready to tell you how to find out. You need to go to your circuit court and wherever you live, whatever counties, whatever, go to circuit court and tell them you want those complaints unsealed because they're sealed. And unless you petition the courts to unseal them, you will never know. Once you find out who called, you can sue them for deprivation of character because that's what they're doing. They're assassinating your characters.
Oh yeah, and they basically they used a 10-year-old case that I caught when I was in my 20s, and that I had expunged and my rights restored, and they're still using it to this day against me. And it had nothing to do with a child. A guy pulled a knife on me at a Chase Bank, and I defended myself. I hit him 5 times and dropped him on his head. Now, did I do some things wrong? Yeah, I probably did. I patted him down, grabbed his cell phone, and broke it and threw it on him. So they gave me kidnapping, robbery, and then assault.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. So and I drove away, and that was I did some time for that. I served my purpose, but that was in 2014. In 2017, I fought for it to get reduced, dismissed, and stricken, and then expunged.
And you were successful.
I was successful.
So why should CPS even be allowed to know that information?
My point.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know if you want to know this one, but CPS is basically had sheriffs raid my house pretty recently.
Yep.
And what was the reasoning behind that one?
Because they were looking for firearms.
Oh yeah.
And they were looking. It basically, my ex-wife said I have straw women that buy me firearms. And
you have what? Wait, whoa.
Per quote, yeah, straw women that buy me firearms. And then she said that she had 2 to 4 that she bought when we were married, and that she doesn't care what happens to them. She doesn't want me to have them. And I'm in possession of them, and she doesn't know what the caliber, what they look like. She just knows one's a long barrel and a kid's gun. I was like, hold on. Kids don't have guns, for one. That would be, I don't know what, I mean, that wouldn't be proper.
Contradicts itself. Like, how could a kid have a gun? Like, kid's gun? Like.
So wait a minute. So do you know for sure that she filed that report?
Oh, yeah.
It says her name on it, yeah.
So can't you do the same thing?
That's a crime. Yeah. You cannot file a false report to the police. That is a crime.
Well, I don't have those firearms. They never found them. They just
don't have guns.
But you're missing the point. I don't care if you had them or not. She filed a false police report stating you had guns. They kicked your door in.
Oh no, they did more than that. They took my Ford F-450 with the mechanic's bed, service body, with $200,000 worth of tools. They took her a GMC Yukon Denali XL. They took my Harley. They took my 2-car trailer, single car trailer.
Wait, what did they take them all for?
I don't know. They took my kids' dirt bikes. They took money. They took. Oh
yeah.
I mean, we're still looking at that. And they didn't write.
Wait. Did you get a receipt for all of that from the police department?
Nope. And we went to go get them at impound, and they auctioned them off.
You should sue these people. That's called a forfeiture. They pretty much said they didn't come and get it, so they forfeited it.
Well, I did. I was in jail. They put my bail at $1 million.
Jesus.
And I had to wait to see a judge, and then finally, after the judge, after 2 weeks, they finally put it in their database that it was 100,000.
Yeah.
Okay, well, our show is coming close to an end. We have about 15 minutes, and I'm going to have you guys exchange contact information after the show. Like, I have your number, and then I can give you Tiffany and Darren so that you guys can obviously talk afterwards. But for the guests that are listening right now, maybe just kind of lead us to the exact, like, where you are now. I mean, I know you have visitation, but you don't. The mom's supposed to have a 30-minute phone call every month, but when maybe was the last time that happened? And I think I've asked this question already, but like, where are you supposed to go as far as like flipping this? Did anybody tell you anything? Like, okay, this is what you get, but can you ever go back to fight it? Like, I don't know if I've already asked you that.
Hold on 1 second. Wait. You're not going to have to worry about that because I'm telling you right now, CPS in Texas is going to be called because the hospitals are mandated reporters.
We don't know, and we've called the forensic doctors and asked them. I mean, we have been getting basically told, stop calling, we're harassing, and stop calling, you don't have rights. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I do have a question though, because the children were removed from our household and put in his. Does Texas DCFS still contact us and let us know what's going on?
It's still in jurisdiction, California, right?
Look here.
Yes.
Listen, those kids right now are in Texas.
Yes.
If that hospital knows that these children haven't even been there 6 months and this child's lost X amount of weight, he's dehydrated, whatever is going on with him, I'm telling you, in children's
medical
hospital,
malpractice.
But
yeah.
They are notorious.
The dude's a freaking, I mean, he can sell ice to an Eskimo. I shit you not.
It doesn't matter.
I get it, but I don't know. I mean, he has been able to tell his story and tell his lies, and everybody eats it like it's hotcakes. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but he weaponized DCFS. He's got the hospital blocking us from getting any of the medical reports when she has rights and they didn't take them. I have rights and they weren't taken. And yet we've been blockaded until today. We got the most current report, which that's where we found out it is melatonin poisoning, which, come on, why did the kid have access? And plus those have child lock caps.
And to top that off, they're trying to put him in inpatient psych.
Oh my God.
So
her child.
So basically they want the golden child, which is the 6-year-old. And they like this dude, we tried to show text message to the judge saying, hey, this guy has already said if the 10-year-old dies, I don't have to pay for him anymore.
Oh my God.
Verbatim, that's in a text message.
Okay, I can't take no more because I'm about to blow my lid and I got 3 people here asleep. So this is what you need to do. You're not getting anywhere. You need to contact Governor Abbott down there. Okay, you all live with Newsom, which is a nuisance.
Yeah. Oh God, don't get me started.
Right. So you need to call the governor.
We have the state representative. We have a state representative for the Human Health and Resources looking over our case as we speak.
Yes.
We've been working on it. We've been pounding the ground. We've been doing the footwork. We're finding out new information every day, and I mean I don't even know. We eat, bleed, and sleep, or don't even sleep this. Breathe it. It's consumed our entire life.
Yep.
At this moment, and we're okay with that because these are our children, and we know that this, hopefully this is a short-term thing, but like our children.
There has to be some kind of emergency, something or another, considering your one son's medical situation.
That's what we've been looking for. That's what we've been trying to do ever since our 10-year-old has been admitted into the hospital. We've been trying to do every emergency thing possible, but so far it seems like it's all getting denied. So, I mean, we're open to suggestions at this point.
Our judge even said basically, I'm so persistent, it's intimidating.
Yep.
So their perception of me is intimidating. Because
well, just be careful.
I
Be
also
careful.
allegedly
Because
I put a tracking device on a caseworker's car and followed her home.
Which never happened.
I had never bought a tracking device. I'd never owned one, and yet where's the evidence for this? And where's the proof that I ever went to your home?
be careful when you're filing petitions and motions, because if they put a gatekeepers on you, they will not hear any other cases that you file. I'm telling you, it's called gatekeepers. Look it up. I'm telling you what to do. You call the governor's office in Texas tomorrow morning and tell them the situation, and somebody will call you back. I call my governor's office all the time. They always call me back.
No, Governor, I didn't realize you were talking about Texas, Governor Abbott. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He's a pretty stand-up. I mean, he did some good stuff at the border.
Call his office.
Governor Abbott.
Where do you stand with visiting your two sons? Father. I'm
supposed to get a minimum of 9 hours weekly, but I haven't seen my kids since December 16th.
Why?
And that's because the mom won't let you?
So first off, DCFS canceled my visits. Basically, they said it's in limbo, and I didn't get my visits. They didn't close the case till January 28th on my end because their mom was supposed to serve me with a restraining order, and I got served with someone throwing a packet of paper out of the car, out of their window. I could show you a video, and luckily we saw it on camera and basically walked out there, and all my information splayed out in the street, and they counted it as a service, and you wouldn't believe me unless I had it on video, which I do, and so their mom has made them unavailable every week. So what do? I contact we're supposed to meet in Phelan, which is the halfway between our residents, and I call the station and put a report every week.
And that's what he was told to do. So
yep. Because
you can't go down to court and act. You can't go down to court after this long now and say, "Look,
I have." But the problem is that they raided my house on the 25th, and now I got really good mud on my. Basically, I'm fighting a criminal case now. And
wait, what did they charge you with?
Concealed weapon and a possession of concealed weapon. And I basically I didn't have a weapon on me when they pulled me over. They pulled me over 2 blocks away from my house, and then they said I had to charge me with a destructive device, which is a pipe bomb. They said I had a pipe bomb, which I basically I had a firework in a vehicle that was at my house that from 4th of July. It's just a firework, little like M80. And they're saying that I was in possession of a destructive device, and then misdemeanor firearms activity and misdemeanor displaying a concealed weapon in public.
Oh my God!
Originally they charged me with a 245 assault with a deadly weapon because they said I pulled a gun on someone on the 31st, a 245-10, and I was not even in the location and the time that they said that I did this incident. I wasn't even in town. I was an hour away, and I was at a paralegal getting a consultation with a lawyer.
Do you have a lawyer?
Not for criminal, yes, now but originally I was trying to get a lawyer for my kids and her kids. But then now, I got to fight for my freedom as well to be able to fight for my kids. Because the destructive device, that's like 10 years in prison if they find that. But I mean, they had the bomb squad come out. This was on KTLA 5. They publicized this. They said I was a racist. I was affiliated with a motorcycle gang. They said I was. They said
oh my God,
manufacturing pipe bombs.
Basically, everything that was an allegation with the DCFS stuff is what they used. And
then basically, if the case was closed with DCFS, why are 100 pages of the documents in their investigation all DCFS? And then on top of that, the lineup they used, my face is highlighted. Like you can see my clear as day.
All the other faces in black and white, you can't see their face at all.
Mm-hmm.
Even in color.
That's a psychological trick that they use. And then they have dates on September 8th or something. I was incarcerated for 270 days in 2024. Most recently, I was like, "Whoa! I've been incarcerated since 2014."
And that date, we were completely out of the area.
We were at the ocean working on ocean boats.
But they said you were in jail.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's because they're trying to say I'm a convicted felon which I'm not. The original crime in 2014, it was a wobbler. I did my probation period. I got it reduced. I got it dismissed. My no contest plea stricken, and then I went and so far to get my rights back, I had to get an expungement, and I did. You cannot be a youth wrestling coach and be a felon. They do not mix. And I've been a youth wrestling coach for years. Recognized at a USA national recognized.
Have you contacted any delegates in your area, any senators in your area?
Yes, Tom Lackey. We Mike Garcia, but right now we're working with the senior field or Catherine Berger. We've Charles Boschwick. We've even messaged Trump, for crying out loud.
Yep.
Well, you can also file complaints on the FBI website and the Department of Justice because they violated your civil rights, your constitutional rights. There should even be an FBI building in your area somewhere, for Christ's sake. So I'm in such a small town. We got one right around the corner from me.
So the Department of Justice, they're my documents, the clutch record, the same clutch record that they use for Department of Justice says all this that I'm telling you. But they keep putting what they want to put and using exculpatory evidence just for character defamation.
Greg Abbott, FBI, Department of Justice, your delegates, and your senators. I'm telling you. And it's a good thing that you guys got somebody looking at your case, because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care what town you're in, that whole state's going to be called whatever your two names are. I can't see them because I'm blind as a bat.
I'm okay with that. I would like to. I don't. Vincent Davis. We had a consultation with him. He said, "Are you willing to stand at the Capitol Hill and with a picket?" I said, "You tell me how to jump. You tell me when to jump. I'll say how high." This is my legacy. I'm mentoring a legacy, and then my biological legacy just got ripped from my chest. I mean, I can't even express it. Like, I'm trying to raise righteous men, and this is.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell parents the same thing. You got to be willing to go to jail. You got to be willing to die on that hill for your kids. I'm willing to die on that hill for anybody's kids that I can save.
One thing the courts took in a negative way is saying, I will do anything for my kids. Saying that statement right there, they took as you're going to do anything criminal-wise to get your kids.
Yeah. Like their biological dad said I would sneak onto a military base and kidnap the children in the middle of the night.
On a military base?
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. He got dishonorably discharged, so he's no longer on the base.
I had to laugh because I was like, I wouldn't sneak on. I have an ID for that base. I've been on that base before.
Yep.
I'm like, I didn't have.
But he's no longer there because he got dishonorably discharged.
Yeah,
he got kicked out
because he failed his drug test. He was under criminal investigation for adultery. Stealing weapons from the armory.
But yet he's the one that has the kids.
With a deadly weapon to another soldier.
Yeah, and
mind you, back in 2014, I think it was, he was arrested for domestic violence as well. But yet the kids didn't go with him, right?
Okay, so this is their plan, though. You got to understand. Yeah. First of all, you're dealing with the devil. Okay. You got to understand that.
Ain't nothing. This is worse than the devil.
We have a couple minutes left, just so you guys know.
But this is what they do all over the country. They always put them with the abusers. It doesn't matter. okay? They put them with them because they know they're coming back for them.
When is enough though? Because I mean, there's a child on life support right now because of this.
And I agree. When is enough? And I'm not trying to sound harsh, but now your child might pass away because the state gave him to somebody that didn't care.
Mhm.
Just know this. And I tell parents this all the time. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Change is coming. The dam has so many spider cracks. It's only a matter of time now.
Well, I hate to end the show on such a down part of your story, but again, the reason why I wanted you two to come on is because, as you can see, Tiffany definitely has the passion for all of us parents that find it hard to fight through sometimes in these specific moments of having our kids removed from us. But I really feel like there's a lot of hope still for you, considering, number one, you haven't had your rights terminated. I mean, that should be enough in itself to do something somewhere. But again, you know, when the show ends, I'm going to text you Tiffany's number, and then maybe you guys can reach out to her as you go through the process of contacting these people that she recommended you contacting. And then also, I know you said you found out some information today when going to the courthouse. So if you want to maybe come on in a couple weeks again on the show and give an update, I'm sure all the listeners would love to follow along and see what happens, because again, we are all usually parents that have gone through a case or are going through a case, so we all kind of feel for each other, and the more support we can all show each other, the better. And I don't know, Tiffany or Darren, last words, and then end with Audrey and Marcus, isn't it? I don't know your name.
Yes, Marcus.
Okay, and then we'll end with maybe some last words you have. So Tiffany, you have anything else you'd like to say, last words?
The only thing I want to tell you is just hang in there.
We're giving up. I mean, I mean, they may have got this battle, but I'm ready for war. Even though they took some of my war machines, I still got, we can always fight a different way.
Darren, you have anything else you want to say?
Smarter than them.
Yeah,
ahead, Darren.
I hope that anybody's out there that has connections to the higher ups in the White House, maybe even to Trump or Bondi, any of these people, get in touch with these people, because they need some serious help with what's going on here. This is the craziest thing I've ever heard. And these people need some help. So if you can help these people in any way, do it, please.
Audrey, Marcus, do you want to share any last words before we close out?
No, we're willing to jump through any hoop that is given, and I don't care what the hoop is. I'm a multitasker. I'm trying to keep our us afloat at the same time as I'm on the phone 24/7. It feels like, I may get 3 hours of sleep a night, for crying out loud. And then my internal alarm's like, nope, it's time to go fight.
And then the courthouse is really our second home at this point.
And,
well, just keep in mind what Tiffany said about, don't bombard the filing emotions, because if they do that, gatekeepers, then you'll really be stuck. Well, thank you for coming on the show again tonight, and I appreciate you sharing your story. I'd love to hear an update, and then I'll go ahead and give you Tiffany's contact information. And also, just keep in mind that it might be hard for us as parents to fight and keep through, but who needs us the most is our kids. They're definitely going through it harder, and they can't get home unless we continue to fight. So just, of course, keep them at heart too, and know that they're hurting more probably than we are, but that's why we keep doing this. All right, thank you everyone for watching. Tune in next Wednesday at 5 p.m. and thank you, Darren and Tiffany. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Oh, no.